of course, that we're still following up. 56 arrested, 3 injured, and we'll be speaking, of course, to key people who hopefully will give us some answers. You asked a very important question there about whether, government has responded, any political party has actually raised concerns about this. Quite an important voice we need to hear from. Yeah, so we'll also be hearing from Pule Mabe, I understand, in this hour as well. We're also going to be speaking to a member of the Veterans Association to try and find out why it reached the level that it did and why it got to the extremes that it did as well. Thankfully, in the end, no one was injured with these 56 members of the Liberation Struggle War Veterans. They've now been arrested as a result of what happened last night. Indeed, police say they will not appear in court today, and they're accused of holding government ministers hostage at the St. George Hotel just outside of Pretoria. Defence Minister Thandi Modise, her deputy Thabang Makwetla, and also Minister in the Presidency Mondli Gungabele were holding a meeting with the war veterans. Let's get the latest from reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones at the hotel for us just after 7 o'clock. Hello to you, Pule. Once again, as viewers joining us this morning, they might not understand exactly what happened overnight. Just bring us up to speed. We also know that you're going to tell us about Gungabele and what he had to say.
Well, a very good morning, Gareth, once again. And like you've just mentioned there, we actually just got confirmation from the SAPS that the 56 suspects, which include 7 of them, which are women, will not be appearing before magistrate courts today. And what we do understand is that, of course, there was negotiations which were ongoing yesterday, but talks did break down. And the frustrated struggle liberation war veterans are of the view that the government had not actually reached their consensus, whereby they had to now pay them the 4.2 million rand gratuity fee, amongst others, which include medical care services and housing. And particularly when that happened, you'd hear when the minister in the presidency had said that he thought that reached an agreement, but they were quite shocked when they saw a last-minute move by the disgruntled veterans when they decided to close the door. And that's when the ministers realized that they were actually being held hostage, and they want this matter to be dealt with swiftly and, of course, legally. But I'm just going to try take you through a walkabout, and as you can see, on my right-hand side here, this is where there was notice of the liberation people that were supposed to meet yesterday with, of course, some of the delegation and the president's executives, which, of course, include as well there Thandi Modise, who is an NEC member in the ANC, which is one of the highest bodies which makes decisions in the organization. The party, though, has distanced itself from this, saying that this is a government matter now. And we do understand that these disgruntled veterans were expected to meet the Deputy President, David Mabuza, who in his capacity is the chairperson of the task team, which was established to look into this matter. Now, yesterday particularly, Gareth, this is where everything unfolded. This is where all the drama unfolded. You can still see that some parts of this scene have been cordoned off. But this gate here is where the suspects were being, told to get into the truck, where they would then be taken to the nearest police station. That's where we're trying to find out where is that, because they could have been taken to either police stations around here, which is Littleton Police Station or Haasfontein Police Station here in Pretoria. And this is where the meeting had actually taken place here in this area. And there were actually notices that show that where the struggle veterans were expected to meet the executives and, of course, some members of the task team just last evening. And, it's quite concerning to see what actually turned out as well. And we do understand that such a similar incident happened last year in Limpopo, whereby we know the Deputy President had condemned the disunity amongst the veterans who were actually disgruntled. These veterans from different, of course, political organizations, some of them from APLA, Azanla, and others from the MK Vets as well. well. And we've tried to also speak to, representatives of the ANC military veterans, the likes of Snooki Zikalala, the likes of Msimang Mavuso, to actually give us direction as to what is the way forward here. And they haven't come forward to actually say whether this matter is currently being looked into. Now, there's been quite a lot of behavioral uncertainties within the organization of the ANC among some of the veterans there. You'd see the likes of Carl Niehaus having to be disgruntled about and vocal about what is happening within the Military Veterans Association. We've seen them as well in eNCA when having to say that they will risk their lives protecting the former president of the country, Jacob Zuma. And we've also seen what has been happening at the late Kema Potter's funeral, where the eNCA vets also staged, some sort of protest there before the Minister of Mineral Resources was having to address. And there's been quite some shake-ups we've been seeing within amongst the veterans within the ANC, and this is one of the things that have led to this hostage that took place last evening, where the veterans were saying that they haven't been taken serious for quite some time. In fact, we know that this agreement was reached last year in November, and it's already October now, almost November, and they're still saying that a government hasn't come to the table to take them seriously.
And we're going to take that conversation forward a little bit later as well. Pule Letshwiti-Jones, thank you very much indeed. The reason I say we'll take it forward, expected around 7:10, a few minutes from now, going to speak to a spokesperson for the veterans to try and find out their view on what transpired last night. My team also telling Tumelo and I that we're going to be hearing from Pule Mabe a little bit later as well. He has asked for a bit more time to get his connection up and running, but we're hoping to hear from Pule Mabe this hour as well on that hostage situation from last night.